Last time I faked it, the girl caught me.
Yeah, see, that's disappointing when that happens. That really is. There we go. All right, now YouTube's coming in. We're getting there slowly but surely. We just need to see if we're okay. There's the first Facebook comment.
Facebook. So, hi, Dina. Good to see you. Susie Bedhead. Hold on. I thought that was Susie Snedhead. Now it's Bedhead. Susie, what happened? I'm crushed. Sparks, Adriana, Diane. Yeah, we're doing a show right now. Tanya, Joe, Dina, Trudy, good to see you. Mary, Viola, good. Awesome.
Okay, here comes YouTube starting to show up now. Okay. Yep, we should be good to go then.
All right. And audio is good, Hawk. Go ahead, Ed. Say something like, pretend like you're
clever. Say something clever.
Yeah, right. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep. Sounded good.
Right. Good. I kind of like this angle, kind of sitting back in the studio here. So we might make this a thing.
Well, I told you before that the importance of us making sure that
rooting for you,
chill out, and not freak out so much, that we'll be all right. So as long as Ed can remember to keep his clothes on and you keep a full bottle of wine, we should be all right.
Well, I'll have you know that one of the prerequisites to Ed coming here tonight was that I made him sign a waiver that said he would keep his clothes on. So we should be good.
Okay. So we're good then. See, yep. we got this worked out. We got this worked out. We're good.
Can't guarantee anything.
And Ed brought his dog, and I've got my sister's dog. So they might be coming in and out.
So tomorrow afternoon, Dave and I will be doing a second interview with Donovan Lamb. Around 2 p.m. Central Time, I believe that's going to be right around there. I think he did send me a message back, Dave. I think he said that that he finishes up feeding the cows at 3 Central Time. He's on in Utah time, so I think that's the same as your time.
Utah is Mountain Time.
Is it? Okay. All right. So so he'll be able to join us right after he finishes with that. So you got to feed the animals, importance, it's just absolutely an important thing to do, no doubt about that. So what kind of trouble are you guys getting into? Seeing that we're just now getting started, we might as well have a report as to what kind of shenanigans you guys are up to, because I'm late and wasn't apprised of your gentlemanly schemes planned on for today.
Gentlemanly schemes. Well, the scheme part is correct. Gentlemanly, I would highly question. All right. So we speaking of Donovan, I made for Ed a little salad, a little tomato and mozzarella that my sister gave me yesterday.
Oh, nice.
And 2 of Donovan's sirloin steaks, which were delicious. Not as good as a T-bone that I fed my buddy Harold on Sunday, but fantastic. How was that?
What do you put on your steaks, Dave?
I put excuse me. There's a rub, a steak rub that I got, a little onion powder, and tonight I put in some I cut up some garlic and cut holes in the steak and shoved them down in the steak. Did you
Okay.
taste the garlic in the steak?
I
No?
did.
Yeah.
I did. And
How
by
was
the
it?
way, this hand moving is my dog right here. Just in case
Okay.
you want-
Yeah.
Nobody wants to know.
Yeah.
So we're
Really make
live
it
on this one, just so you know. Both chats here.
Let's see.
So
If I remember you right, you have that little black and white dog, right?
Mm-mm.
No.
a
No.
golden doodle.
Okay. Was he with
He's
you the
got-
last time you were over?
No,
He wasn't. Okay. Okay.
That
Yeah.
was
that was something else.
yeah, I don't know what that was. That was my rug, I think maybe. But yeah, so hello everybody. Now I'm getting hungry. Yeah, Donovan Lamb's steaks were pretty awesome. And so that's funny what his hand is doing. See, all right. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So the real question is going to be, Dave, if you type into chat, are they going to see it on Rumble?
Oh, you mean if I type it into Rumble?
No, type in the chat here in StreamYard
Okay.
and see if it goes to the people in Rumble. That's going to be the real kicker.
Well, Rumble. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I don't think Rumble is picking up what we're putting down. So when I put in a comment, by the way, it still holds up, shows up as Hawks Mustard Seeds 24.
Yeah, because you're in under my admin.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
because anybody who's in as an internal admin on the StreamYard is going to come up as me. So until we can make you a YouTube account that you won't blow up. I mean,
It's terminated his last account. Did I tell you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Bro. Sorry.
That's okay. We're gonna make more.
Hey,
We're gonna make more.
Okay. So here's the thing that's really interesting about that hawk. Well, whether it's interesting or not, we'll let the audience decide. But the interesting thing to me about that whole situation is that video that I showed was from May of 2019. So why would a video from May of 2019? There you go. That's a better look. Good call.
Yeah, we
Oh,
look
wait,
like we're looking at each other instead of.
Yeah. And actually, it's because Hawk is very liberal and left. He
Yeah.
voted for Biden, so he likes to be on the left, and I like to be on the right. And stop me anytime if I get anything wrong.
It's fair and
Oh,
balanced.
it's no. You go right ahead. You go right ahead.
I go right ahead.
I never voted for Obama though, so it's.
There you go. So Sned and Ed in the shed, polar bears. Good call. I like it. I like it. We need a marketer. All right. We need so Rumble is going. So my comment did not go over to Rumble. But the Rumble comments are coming into here.
Right. Yep. And if I'm not mistaken, we should be able to. Oh no! All we can do is okay. So basically, if you hover over like where Debbie King's comment is there, if you look over to the far right, you see that there's a star in the corner.
Yeah.
And then you'll see that there are 3 dots. Now, don't click anything. I mean, you can click to see what the menu is of the 3 dots, but don't click any of the things.
Okay.
We have a delete comment. We have a put user in timeout and ban user and delete their comments. So
Okay.
I think it's once we get your Rumble set up to be standard in the StreamYard instead of having to get a new key each time, then you'll actually have control of your chat like that. So you'll be able to, like, when somebody comes in and does those bot things, ads,
Yeah. Okay.
you know,
Okay.
because I'll tell you now,
Well,
when I do it to bots on YouTube,
yeah.
I click them and I do ban user and delete their comment.
Okay.
It permanently bans them from coming back to the YouTube channel at all.
Good to know.
So,
Okay.
so we just have to get your Rumble set up so that it'll do that. So, Devil Dog, it's it. Now there, Dave, that guy is the most knowledgeable guy I know in regards to the Constitution. Right there.
Hey, will you pull up some of the comments? Because I'm going to sit back and hang with my boy here.
There should be a way to make it do it automatically. There should be, but there's not.
Well, not all of them need to be read.
Oh, sure.
Because once Ed starts talking, I have a feeling it's going to get ugly. So we don't want all of them showing up.
Yeah, say goodbye to your last channel.
So, but dude, think about it. How could your channel get canceled from us showing a video from May of 2019?
What platform was it?
YouTube.
Because of the topic.
Yeah. But I mean, isn't it amazing that we're having this conversation we are right now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Especially after today, MTG standing up there in front of Congress saying, listen, I was the only member of Congress to be censored and banned off of any social media platform. And here you guys are wanting to get rid of TikTok.
Yeah.
They voted.
Right.
It's 357 to something.
Absolutely insane.
Yep.
So we got 256 on X, on my X, 6 on yours, 29 on your Facebook, and 76 on your YouTube, and 145 on Rumble.
Yep.
So interesting. It doesn't give the Rumble numbers, even though we have Rumble.
No, that I
Rumble
think we
is in
have
the
to go
chat.
to your. Yeah, I think we have to go to your channel for that one. So
yeah. So I've got Rumble up. So I see the comments, and
yeah.
So yeah, my friends. So what we were talking, we were having a great conversation over dinner, Ed. What is the one thing?
It wasn't great, but
it was. I'm glad we agree on that. I was just trying to be a polite guest. What do you want to talk about, Ed?
no, you're not going to put this on me.
What?
Well,
what?
Listen.
Dave texted me and said it's got a whole bunch of stuff he wants to talk about. That's messed up.
Be responsible for what happens.
Well,
I'm a.
Well, you never take responsibility for anything, so that's right up your alley.
Yeah, so and Dave's message to me was Ed has a few things he wants to talk about. Are you coming on?
He's got to get a few things off his chest. Let's
talk about alcoholism.
Bring your family into this or anything, but yeah, TikTok is working in Trump's favor, Clay. That's why they want to get rid of it. Because let's face it, this administration has no problem giving the upper hand to China. So they're not. It's China. So it's not like they're trying to stop that from happening, and they don't give a shit about us. So that's a great way to put it.
Actually, that right there is a good topic, Dave. China.
Well, I tell you what came to me tonight. Was that speaking of China and speaking of the jabs, which we won't say the V word because that's what got your channel canceled.
Vagina.
But if we think about the CV and we think about what went down there and what's happening now with Trump mentioning this. Now, one of the things, Hawk, I've thought about
Which
is
first I have to ask you, Dave, which China are you talking about?
Ukraine.
you mean you mean
Oh,
go ahead.
yeah, that's right.
Go
That's
ahead.
why I said
That's all I know.
China,
And
not
Ukraine.
China.
Well, I've heard.
The China and Ukraine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that a certain somebody just rolled through with a whole bunch of tanks
Did that just happen?
yesterday afternoon.
So I heard they were having having peace talks in Turkey. Is that correct? Anybody?
Peace talks in Turkey?
I did hear that was coming up. I didn't know that was happening already.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard something, but
Yeah, there was rumblings of that. There was also a very interesting put out by James O'Keefe today, where he met with on a date with a DOD person who was like dropping all kinds of secrets.
Has anybody ever noticed that the gay hidden cameras of O'Keefe's are giving up a lot more information than the hetero dates?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is it something? Is it like that? Do they have to oversell themselves? What's going on with that? Because they are like, giving away the keys to the kingdom just to get some ass.
Well, think of it like this, Dave. When we were kids, okay, now you're only a couple of years older than I am. We had Mrs. Kravitz from Bewitched. We had Gladys, who was across the street from Jeannie. I Dream of Jeannie, and of course Major Nelson. He told a lot of stories outside of school too. But see, most of the gossipers of the 60s and the 70s were just TV people. Now you might hear a little something about a neighbor, but in most cases it was quashed within a very short period of time. Then the free 80s came along in the 90s, and it seemed that gossip went to a particular community and has done nothing but flourished ever since. Now, we still have our Gladyses. We still have our Mrs. Kravitz. Okay. Those old ladies who are extremely paranoid and constantly watching their neighbors. But where the gay community is concerned, it appears that gossip is the 100% lifeblood of that community.
Hey, if they're done, you can put those out. Okay. Or put them in the trash. Sorry, Hawk.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But it's just looking at the community itself. I mean, we were told, the art of Sun Tzu, is when an enemy is destroying itself, you don't get in the way. You don't stop it. Okay.
Yeah.
And what is the gay community doing? They're destroying themselves.
Yeah.
They're destroying any support that they gathered throughout the entire nation I would say, over the last 30 years. With between the trans rights and everything else, it's going to go back to the point where if you're going to be gay, you're literally going to be in the closet. You're not going to want anybody to know, because nobody's going to trust you. Nobody's going to want to have any conversation with you. Nobody's going to want any involvement with you whatsoever. And they sure as hell aren't going to want you anywhere near their kids.
Yeah.
So as Sun Tzu said, you never interrupt an enemy when they're destroying themselves, and that's exactly what they're doing, and, that's why, that's another reason we could go to China now, not China. Okay. China. If we go to China, basically who's been feeding and pampering that community for years? China. Who has helped promote all their propaganda? China. And Soros. Both of them. And now you've got the WEF who's pumping that. You got the WHO who's pumping that. I mean, basically, who's going to be the most hated community worldwide? And that's just looking at it from a political sense, And it's, I don't have anything against gay people. What you do in the privacy of your bedroom, that's your bedroom. I don't care. As long as it ain't with a kid. But now it seems that it's becoming this thing where we want to control your children, we want to indoctrinate your children, we want, that's a totally different story. That's a totally different story. And the teachers who are involved in all of this, you have to wonder why are people not trusting education? Why are they not trusting the Board of Education? Why is DEI becoming the most important thing? First it was what was the other curriculum that they were doing there? Critical race theory.
Yeah.
That didn't work. After 2 years, critical race theory was pretty much going downhill real fast because everybody turned their back on it. Nobody wanted anything to do with it. But they had implemented it a few years beforehand. We just didn't learn about it until, a few years ago. But now it's the public are defending themselves and are literally stepping forward and fighting back. It's our city halls, our counties, and everything else. Well, they've been kowtowing to all this because half of them belong to that community. And where is the only place that pedophilias feel safe? In the LGBTQ plus RZQMMP community.
That and the Catholic Church and a lot of 501c3 Christian churches and the Boy Scouts and the high schools and the Bohemian Grove and the royalty in England. Yeah. Could you let them out? Thanks.
No, you're funny. Are you saying you hang out the closed sign, Devil Dog? Is that what you're saying? You hang out the closed sign, not open to the public.
Exit only. So let's talk about, in terms of that that whole situation. Q has said that crimes against children will unite all of humanity.
Yep.
And I'm going to share that. Let's see. Why did but at any rate, Ed, any thoughts on that? Or
yeah, I think there's a couple reasons they do it. One, it's a divisive subject, so anything that can divide us, they would like to do. Two, a lot of what's happening are rituals, and they have to imbalance us as a human race. This is one of the reasons why we have plastics that mimic, female hormones. They want it. I swear I shut that door. I don't know who opened it.
With the outside?
Yeah.
Oh,
the
we gotta
door's
go.
open. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, so they, the buck
Yeah.
didn't- Oh, how'd you guys do?
We got to manage the crowd here. We've got a lot of people that showed up for the live show. We've got 8 legs that showed up for the live show. And
You're lucky you don't have deer just walking in looking for apples.
yeah, right. But crimes against children will unite all of humanity, and that's coming out. I mean, look at what's happening with Hollywood right now.
Mhm.
Okay. And here's 4566, July 2nd, 2020. This tweet is suspended, like most tweets that came out of the drops, by the way. Any Twitter account that was connected to these drops was completely deleted.
Yep.
Think about that, folks. Think about how intimidated they are by basically by the Q board. Think about that. I mean, they've got to shut down every single Twitter account that was connected through the Q board. Why? So impressive, most impressive argument. Maxwell is not a big enough name to trigger a mass awakening. Example, counter argument. Do not make statements based on assumption of worth and or value. Do not think today, but rather after today. One leads to another. One leads to many. Crimes against children equals common denominator, no matter political affiliation, mass population awakening, in kill brackets, have faith in humanity. So what Q's basically telling us there is that, that we really need to understand and have faith in the humanity that we have, that we're a part of, in such a way that if they only knew what's really happening in the world, if they only knew what was really going on with the children, they would put a stop to it. They just don't know because the Mockingbird media has kept this information from them. So, yeah. So, my friends, this is we are live here on a Saturday, on Wednesday night. I'm sorry, it feels like a Saturday actually, because my birthday, I've had Sunday and Monday and Tuesday were very special days for me, with my friends stopping in from Pennsylvania to see me, to surprise me and my family, and then my little road trip with my ex and our daughter, and to Fredericksburg, which was beautiful. And then my sister taking my daughter and I out to lunch on Tuesday, and then here my friend Ed is here on Wednesday. And every step of the way, we are celebrating life and celebrating friendship and celebrating family and celebrating me, most importantly.
Not really.
Cheers. So cheers, everybody. Thanks for being here with us tonight. You always do this before you drink. He's such a lush dude. He doesn't even like toast you. He'll just go right for it. All right. So you were talking, and if you could continue with what you were saying, because I'd love to get a little nap in. So please continue. Please continue.
What was I talking about? Gays. No. Now I think it happens for several reasons, and I think this is my take. you know, a lot of it's a ritual, and they have to destabilize us. And without, you know, balance is having a good. That's why the nuclear family and conservative values are what they're attacking, is because we need a good balance of male and female. We need that masculine energy, and we need that feminine energy. And if they can imbalance that, and of course, anybody who's going to stand up against the system is going to be masculine. And so they have to get rid of that, as well as they want to normalize pedophilia down the road. And it's going to take generations, or, you know, maybe a decade. At this rate, probably 5 years, who knows? Because that's what they're into. And their gods are hermaphrodites. Their gods are both female and male. And so they want to get rid of our inherent masculine and our inherent feminine energy, like a strong female. That's why they introduced feminism. Is it destroys females first, it destroys the family, and then it destroys men after that. And so it's really, in a very simplistic view, just to destabilize us as a fighting force, right? Strong family ties are much more formidable than individuals on their own. You know, individual male, individual female, and we don't. You know, if you can get rid of that male instinct to fight and call it misogynistic, then you can conquer a nation. So you got a bunch of cucks out there who've fallen for this, and look at Europe. That's where they're at. But America's the last bastion. We were founded on fighting. We were founded on standing up to tyrants, and they fear that. And the biggest thing they fear is us together as a strong community, as a strong, you know, I go out of my way to talk to liberals all the time. Honestly, they, you know, they're brainwashed. We all are to some extent. They're really brainwashed, but deep down, if you really talk to people, we all want the same things. And if we can get past this division, race, sex, whatever it is, we do all want the same things. And that's what they're desperately trying to do. They're trying to keep us from having genuine conversations with the other side. And say, look, man, this is what I want. You know, if you talk to somebody in 20 minutes and they're intelligent, you're going to find out they want the same things as you. It's just a little bit different, and their flavor is skewed by, you know, whatever news they're tapped into. But to me, that's the goal. You got to get rid of our unity. You got to get rid of our power, and you've got to start with dividing males and females. That's where it starts. Then it's races, then it's states, and it's countries, and it's political affiliations, it's gender, it's all that. It's all that shit.
Would you say that basically if you're, you know, Ed is a fighter, he's a martial arts MMA fighter.
I'm not
Well,
a fighter.
He doesn't. He fights. Is it safe to say you just fight women? Is that what?
I mean, it's acceptable now. So
yeah,
what do you? I mean,
that women that pretend to be men. You don't see a lot of that, do you?
I don't think you understand gender.
Yeah.
I don't think you understand gender.
Yeah. Women aren't really.
I'm just really disappointed that you guys are like totally excluding the other 97 genders. I mean, it's just totally unfair.
Yeah, he doesn't understand. We don't have the time to explain it.
I have those listed on my website, davidsnedeker.com. If you guys want to click on that, I have all the genders listed. Unfortunately, you have to donate to see them. So
you're saying nobody's ever going to see it?
I have them behind a paywall, so no one will ever see them. No one in this audience will ever see them.
And his autobiography, memoirs from the casting couch.
Yeah. So the thing about you know, what you were just saying about, you know, which I wasn't paying attention to. So if you could recap, that would be great.
Can't do it.
But if we're looking at what's happening in the world and how the you know, as a fighter, right, as a basketball player, I look to the weakness of the opponent.
That's not really fighting. That's a sport where you're bouncing a ball around.
Well, fighting is basically primitive, whereas, you know, doing your fighting with a basketball, that's more civilized.
Oh, okay.
And at the same time, it shows they're the greatest athletes in the world. So, so when you're understand that you're up against an opponent and you're always looking for a weakness. Well, that is the cabal that has controlled humanity forever, is that they're always looking for a weakness and where they can get us. And when you understand, what are we doing? You going to answer the door? Or what? Okay. There was a reason why we put him in the other room.
I threw the bones.
Could
out.
you
I don't know.
train your dog, for crying out loud? I got a breeder and a trainer right here on the phone with us. He's going to be very disappointed that you can't even control
If your
Your
dog
bitch.
can't control
your bitch.
its bone, my dog can't take it.
He doesn't even have it.
Yeah, because my dog took it.
Oh, is that what went down?
He's a superior athlete.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Has nothing to do with the fact that he had to go out and take a piss and she just stole it while he was doing that, right?
She's
Okay.
also smart.
So so this is
And that's why he fights instead of playing basketball.
exactly. You know, basketball always for me ended up with a fight anyway. Because when you start dunking on people, they don't like that. So it's so the cabal to control us is always looking for a weakness. And what makes us weak? They divide us, they divide us, they divide us. So it doesn't matter whatever new division they can create, they create it. And it's like what I was saying about what happened in 2020 with CV. They not only had they divided us by race, by religion, by sex, by confusing us with genders and our children with genders, you know, Republican, Democrat, borders, countries. It didn't matter how many they had on their in their holster to be able to fire at us. They went another step and they divided us by 6 feet and with masks and with lockdowns. And this was something that was just one more chink in our armor that they exposed and that they used against us to control us, to move us. And so that's what's really amazing. Is she still superior now that he's eating it on the stairs?
She gave it to him.
Yeah, she gave it to him. What did she wrap it in a bow?
She threw
or
it.
did he just take it?
She threw it.
I think he took it.
You weren't paying attention as always.
What do you think, Hawk? You weren't listening either. Nobody was. Nobody listens to me. So one of the things that we were talking about.
I've been reading the comments. You know, it's I've been preoccupied.
So one of the that's what my ex used to say too, and I'm like, you're not even online. So one of the things I was saying earlier is that Ed and I were talking about, we wish that Trump would stop tweeting about the jab and stop, you know, taking credit for it, right? Because it's brought so much heat to him, the tweeting about the jab. And so but he's always been 15 steps ahead of the deep state. So if he's 15 steps ahead of the deep state on almost every single thing that we've seen, then that kind of awakens us to the fact that, oh my God, this guy's dialed in. He knows what's going on. Somehow he's dialed in, whether he's seen the future or, you know, whatever has taken place. So
He reminds me
what
of Dr.
if?
J.
What's that?
He reminds me of Dr. J.
Who does? Trump?
Yep.
I can see the resemblance.
Well, not appearance wise, but the
I'm
way he
teasing.
played the game. The way he played the game.
Yep.
You know, that's you know, he was
Jerry Lee, I agree.
He was very meticulous about how he played the game, and he knew when to have fun.
Yeah. Jerry
You know?
Lee, you've heard that white man's disease. Well, I was the cure. White men can jump. You just need to train yourself. My vertical is 36 inches, and I played with Larry Bird for a whole day in a Miller Lite drinking commercial, Miller Lite beer commercial.
The
Responsible
whole
drink.
day. Okay, and don't you forget that, the whole day.
Not only the whole day, but we had the ball the whole day. We were on offense the whole day. It was like a basketball player's dream that you didn't have to play defense the entire day.
Someone posted about Weiser has to admit they changed the shot. We were talking about that. Maybe that's what it's about. Is you know, bringing light to the fact that I said it could be a negotiating tactic where he's letting them know I'm taking credit for this, and if you push it, if it comes out that you guys, what I was pushing was actually different from what actually you pushed afterwards. It can be a negotiating tactic because they absolutely can't have that come out. I don't know what B was, but that's what got me started on that. There's a reason for it because he linked it with the cancer vaccine or the cancer treatments now.
Yeah. Okay.
So
David said when somebody thinks of here's that and goes of vaccines and cancer.
Yeah. Don't say that word. Don't say that word.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's okay.
My bad.
So what?
So somebody's looking up the jab. Well,
Right.
First of all, if somebody reads Trump's tweet about the jab and about cancer, they're gonna search that.
Yep.
Okay.
And well, this is the thing. Okay, so we can say Regeneron without a problem. The Fen one, we can't say the whole name of that. But you know, and both of those have an astronomical opportunity to eliminate cancer cells. So I've talked about cancer many times on the channel because I had prostate cancer, you know, so we talk about cannabis and how it can be used to fight the cancers. But where the jibber jabberwockies are concerned, you know, there is that line that people keep seeing what he said on the other side of the line instead of there was a line that was drawn. Okay. And none of what came out to the mass population came out while he was in office. The only two that came out while he was in office was the Fen and the Regeneron. You know, those are the only two. Okay. The P company, the M company, and the J&J company, they came out about 30 days after Trump was out of office. So it was like right around if I'm not mistaken, it was right around the 15th of February. It was like, you know, right around there. And then, two of them came out late January, early February, and then the third one came out not until about now. It was about March of that year. Okay.
Mhm.
And one of the big things was that when T was in office was he wasn't going to mandate anything. That was the other thing that people don't think about and remember is that he wasn't going to mandate
Yeah.
anything. He was like 100%. It's got to be your choice. But I heard that a certain H thing did really well, and then a certain a certain other one, with the I worked for the other one, that people could have used and didn't because they thought it was just for animals.
So, and obviously they knew it wasn't just for animals. It was just only the idiots believed that it was for animals because
Absolutely.
they were
I've had a
completely-
couple. Dave. I can't agree with that because I've had a couple of people out here who are not idiots, but when they went to look for information on it, they didn't think about what they were typing into the computer in order to search for it. Okay. When I told them to go to the CDC and go to the NIH and type in the words, and it came up with all the different studies, they're like, whoa, okay, I see where it's here talking about the animals. He says, but what's in this column here about the humans? When did that come up? That's always been there. People didn't correlate. They would automatically jump on and they would search Google for those products and just go with what Google was putting up in front of them. Even DuckDuckGo was doing the same thing, But once they saw it, they were like, whoa, wait a minute. Okay. There was no fight from them after they saw it on the NIH, especially, and then what I told them was, because I had told them, to look for the C word, and that particular medicine, and it came up no problem. But then I told them to look for cancer and those products. And when they did, they called me up. They weren't typing to me in chat no more. They weren't texting my phone anymore. They were talking to me on the phone. They were like, I didn't know that it got rid of this kind of cancer. I didn't know it got rid of this kind of cancer. Yeah, Jerry Lee, we just can't say we just can't say that word without getting a trigger from the WHO. That's yeah. So the V word is bad, the Fen word is bad, and the H to the C to the Q,
So, all right. So talking about now, what came up tonight in our conversation over dinner was that Trump has always been 15 steps ahead. So when he tweets something, and now it's the truth, it's the truth of something.
Mm-hmm.
And he truths about during the State of the Union about how he was the one who, fast forwarded and created the jabs for humanity and not Biden. That's one of those things that if you look at it on its surface, you think, don't let your ego be tied into this. Just let him take credit for this thing because people that are just waking up want to know who created the jab. So why wouldn't you want to throw Biden under the bus for that? Well, because what Trump tweeted had to do with the jab and the C word.
Yep.
Okay. Now, if somebody is just waking up or somebody is trying to find out, oh, well, what is it about what Trump's saying that may be accurate? Let me check this out. And you type in the V word and the C word and do a search. What you're going to come up with is, excuse me, the jabs and their side effects, the C jabs and their side effects. And if you keep looking how mRNA jabs might help to treat it, but let's talk about how, if you keep looking, how they could cause it.
Yeah, what's it? What's that new? They like call it the speedy cancer or something like that.
Oh, it's hyperdrive basically.
Yeah.
It you know, we all have cancer in us. And so it's whether or not it's activated or whether or not it's growing.
Yep.
And what has happened with the mRNA and what's happened with the jabs is that it has
Turbo cancer. Thank you, Tammy.
turbo shot up to cancer, right?
Yeah. They're actually calling it turbo cancer now. It
turbo.
was
it. Turbo.
They talked about it on news a couple of days ago. You know, I tune into Jesse Waters every once in a while, depending on what the topic is. You know, because I just want to hear what they're saying. You know, we know how to recognize the bullshit now. But the turbo cancers was brought up by Gutfeld, the little guy, the little funny guy. You know, and he brought it up, and it was very the Democrat girl was like highly suspect right off the bat. You know, like you can't blame this for that. You know, this is just unhealthy eating and everything else, and that's what everybody puts into. They put it all off to unhealthy eating and everything else. Now, I'm not going to say anything about and say that that's wrong, because I can pick up this box here, okay, and I can flip it over, and on the bottom of this box, and I saw this after the grocery lady came out and dropped off my food this week, okay, this warning on this box of awesome lemon Franz donuts, okay, warning: consuming this product may expose you to chemicals including acrylamide, which are known to the state of California to cause cancer and birth defects or other reproductive harm. For more information, go to www.p65warnings.california/gov/food.
Are you pregnant, Hawk?
I hope not, but it's spelled ACRYLAMIDE.
Acrylamide.
You know, and now California is the only state to have that warning on this box.
And what is it exactly? The box?
It's Franz, FRANZ. It's a baking company. Lemon naturally flavored donuts.
Yeah, I wouldn't eat those if I were you.
Well, I can't waste the money, so I have 3 boxes of them sitting here.
You got them for the dogs, right?
Well, actually, they get a donut and I get a donut.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, if oh Jesus, you're gonna get this started. I'll pull one out, and
you can't do that unless you have enough for the whole class. And right now,
donut.
The whole class is like 1,000 people. So
donut, food. I got food.
Oh, really? You're gonna give me an ad?
I can't. They're all sound asleep. I can't believe this.
So, oh, nice. Well, don't wake them up. It's nice to have the silence.
I'm like, whoa, dude, this is weird. I'm actually gonna send the link to myself and invite myself so that I can this is freaking me out that they're all asleep at the exact same time, even the little itty bitty puppies. I got to get this. You guys
So
gotta see it.
let me go to my my X here. By the way, the Big Dipper did an AI on Ask Grok XAI. Trump is indeed the current commander-in-chief, CIC of the United States. He assumed the position on January 20th, 2021, after winning the 2020 presidential election. As the commander-in-chief, he is responsible for the overall direction and management of the United States military and has the authority to make critical decisions regarding national security and military operations. Donald Trump is currently the 45th president of the United States, having been inaugurated on January 20th, 2021. He won the 2020 presidential election against Joe Biden, securing his second term in office. As the president, he is responsible for leading the executive branch of the federal government and making critical decisions regarding national security and military operations. There you go. Grok AI is pretty smart, and it's not woke, and it's not making our founding fathers black, which was pretty damn funny. So just before we leave the jab conversation, it was, if Trump is trolling with his truths like he did with his tweets and has been doing with his truths for a long time, then what he's doing is he's doing two things. One is he's making people aware that we would have had a lockdown for a lot longer had he not come up with the jabs in the timeline he did, which would have caused more casualties than anything. And then the other thing is, oh, look at, they're all asleep. Dude, what did you feed them?
They had half of a ham steak and a half of a turkey breast.
That's hilarious, man.
And then let me see if I get stood up here. Jesus, this is going to be an act of. You think I'm kidding with as many dogs as I have? Jesus,
dude, that's unbelievable.
Another one back there. Two more there. And then
look at
there's
all
the
those
little
puppies.
ones.
Wow. 8.
And there's Mama. Hi, Mama. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
They're doing really good too. They were really loud today, but yeah. Let me see if I can get Mama or Grandma here to move her foot so I can step over here, get a close up.
That's awesome. Oh, what's up, buddy? Hey, hey there.
The one conservative in the group.
Who's been left out in the cold?
He's awake.
Yeah, he's awake. Good call. Yeah. So I think Trump is pointing us both to the timeline of when the Biden took over the jab and when he left off. So I think he's bringing that to attention, and also the correlation with cancer. Both.
So here's a good exercise, maybe. So if these are breadcrumbs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then what is it? Watch the news next. What news is going to correlate with this? About what we're talking about with the big companies.
The news unlocks the map, you mean?
Yeah. So the news is it going to be, we've had multiple creations of these shot, right? These jabs.
Right. That's what's going to come out, I think. Absolutely.
And maybe we'll watch that next.
Yeah.
So he's always maybe the impetus, the breadcrumb news.
Well-
Watch the map, and then
Well, one of the things I've said is that
I can do your job easily.
how, oh, no, you would,
I
yeah.
would starve.
Oh, you would. It's embarrassing. Let's not go there. Let's save yourself. So, so what I said, what I've been saying for quite a while is that the same predictive programming that that the cabal has been doing for generations, the white hats are now doing. And part of that is that they have to open up the brain synapse of that possibility before they release that possibility onto the masses. And so what Trump is doing with these tweets about the jab, I believe, is to set the stage for the next piece of information that's going to come out that is going to give credence to the reason why he's been sending these texts.
Which is what
These
I just
these-
said
these
like
truths.
5 minutes ago.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to tell you is I was saying this about, I don't know, 8 months ago, 10 months ago. So welcome to my world. Once again, you were late, not just only for tonight's dinner, but you're late to the table with this weak drivel that you're sliding across the table.
It's your show. I'll let you.
You don't need to let me
You can
anything,
do-
motherfucker.
You do you.
All right. Go ahead. So, but this is, how many times are we going to see Trump truth something and then we see why he did it, even though it didn't serve him at the time. And that is what is really happening here. And we can't forget that. We can't get lost in the frustration of it all. And it's like, oh, Trump is killing me, man, because, all my people that are anti-jab are saying, what's with your boy Trump? Meanwhile, they're leaning towards RFK Jr. Now, I love RFK Jr. I've been fighting alongside of him and alongside his methodology for many, many years, fighting the medical tyranny in California. And so, I had his right hand on for an interview, Denise Young, who's phenomenal. And so I really like him a lot, but a lot of people are leaving Trump for him because of the awakening that's come around the jab. But in actuality, I don't think he'd be putting that out there knowing that that works against him if there wasn't something coming right around the corner from the initial, crumb.
Right. A lot of time left before the election.
Yep. A lot of time. Look at the
So I think about, oh yeah, this is one of it's one of many. I have many plates. But the thing is they wanted us locked down for 5 to 10 years. Let's be, let's look at this realistically. If he hadn't done that, it'd be 5 years before they would have come out with the V, only to have, and at that point there, being on a lockdown that long, about half of the population would go flipping nuts. I mean, look at how we are now with the way things are going after, a year and a half to 2 years being locked down.
Mhm.
I remember being so depressed when that second year announcement came out.
Yep.
It just hit me like, and I knew everything that was going on. I just like my heart sank. Yeah, 5 years would be enough to screw up a generation.
Yeah. He knew what he was doing when he said Operation Warp Speed. You know, he knew what he was doing. Because like I said, it would have been 5 years or 10 years. Okay, at the 5 year point, we would probably have lost more I would say about a quarter of the population just in the United States alone if it was a 5 year lockdown. You know, and by year 10, then you're talking about another third that would be gone. So, possibly 2/3 of the population would have been gone within 10 years. And at that point then they would figure out who else they need to get rid of. I mean, it's that simple. And those that survived would have, it would have been 100% slavery period anyway. So it wouldn't have been a life worth living.
No. And that's kind of what we're experiencing now too, is that if Q said that if people knew 99% of, if 99% of the population knew everything, then
Go crazy.
they'd be in, the hospital. All right.
John Dunning.
Hello, Hawk, Dave.
Hey, John, how you doing, man?
I'm doing
John,
good.
Ed meet John. John Dunning is one of our great researchers that pops into 99.9% of our shows, and I figured that in these conversations he can throw in a few comments and probably be able to carry a great conversation with Ed in topics that he wanted to throw out there that maybe I didn't know about or didn't know enough about. But I want to read this comment here real quick. Colette says, I kind of want to, I want to try the last name, but Nepal. I'm probably saying that wrong. Nepal. It's the last name.
Knievel.
Knievel.
Like Evil Knievel.
Okay. Knievel.
No, I don't know. Yeah.
I'm sure I'm probably getting a middle finger pointed at the screen right now like this. It's you asshole.
I'm sorry. Was that showing? I didn't realize that I was.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. I'm saying I'm getting the middle finger for trying to pronounce the name. And she says exactly. People were begging for the clot shot. Never questioned the insanity of it. Sported their certain card and free donut. Hey, don't be blaming it on the donuts now. Because what's his name in New York City? He offered a cheeseburger and French fries at least.
Right.
People who got conned.
By the way, that douchebag, he bit into the French fries. Hawk.
Yeah, he did.
He bit into the French fries and put the bit French fries back.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like, I'm sorry, dude. Have you never eaten French fries before?
Yeah.
You
hold
never
on to them suckers
put a
until they're
half-eaten
gone.
French fry back in the freaking basket. What the hell's wrong with you? All right, please continue.
Yeah. But she says people who got conned need to look in the mirror and blame that person, not Trump. And she's 100% correct. Okay.
But let me say something.
He gave the alternatives. He gave the alternatives. Okay. But at the same time, again, you got to look at the time period. When I said that by 5 years, Dave, you sparked right up when I said that we would have lost a quarter of the population here in the United States. Okay. And, you think about it. In year 2, they were begging for it. They were begging for that. Give me that so I can get out of here. Give me that so I can get out of here. Okay. They never would have made it to year 5. They never, ever would have made it to year 5 without getting it. There's absolutely no way.
So let's bring John on in. John, what do you want to talk about, brother?
I'm just kind of tagging along with you guys to see what, if I can add to the conversation, I will. We're talking like about I'm going, instead of saying the V word, I'll say the bug. We talk about the bug, and, I think everything is trying to wake us up. We all have different opinions, and, we got white hat, black hat, we got all kinds of things going around and floating. And it's kind of like that snow globe paradigm, I think it shook us up to where now it's like, wow, what's going on? And I see that everywhere. A lot of people are, what's going on? What's going on? As much as I'd like to say, I can tell you what is going on, I can only tell you what my opinion is, because I don't think anybody really has the full scope of this. And it's meant to be that way. The military, I believe, is involved. I believe, well, let me where I'm coming from. A lot of people want to blame certain groups, whether it be the small hats or different organizations. But I think it's on a scale of so big where it's in everything. It's an infiltration. You can almost call what is going on in our society a virus or a bug in itself. But it's affecting our spiritual life, our perspectives, our morals. This is how an enemy tears up. If you ever listen to that, if I were the devil.
Paul Harvey.
Yeah.
Paul Harvey, yep.
I would get into the schools. I would get into your military. I would get into your government. I would get into everything. And I think that's more accurate than to say it's, this group or that group.
Well, it's more the worst part of, the biggest truth is I will get it into your household, into your marriage, into your bedroom.
Yeah.
That's where, this whole major problem really began is the disintegration of family value.
Yep.
Because at that point, when you have the disintegration of family value, then automatically the educational department, becomes more of a parent than you are. Okay. Because the kid's looking for something to fill the void of the missing parent.
Mm-hmm. And as a child, and even as adults, we are all impressionable. We can be led or misled. Children at a young age, they need that stability and guidance and security in their lives. And a lot of them are forced to grow up too early. They don't have the parent around, or whether it be the male or the female or whatever, but it was by design, because we do have people in this world who all they think about is power and control. They don't care who gets hurt. They don't care, and who they think they know what's best. That's like, when you look at like on a world stage, it's like, okay, what do we do about population control? And these people think they have to answer that question, or they can perpetrate the, well, let's do more abortions. Let's put something in this or that, or let's teach the people this, instead of telling the people, if that is true, come on, people, look at the facts. That's like years ago, I believe there was that question, and these people made the decision instead of, how are we going to feed the world? I believe they were like, well, let's close down all the little farms and make big farms. so we can control it better. And we started going into that world economics and world, a bigger picture than just the United States.
Well, just look at the word world health,
Right.
Because honestly, if it wasn't for the United Nations and the World Health Organization, if it wasn't for those two acting up the way that they were, people wouldn't even know about the WEF.
Mm-hmm. And that
if you think about it, people weren't putting two and two together that the WEF really had that much play, that much power. Everybody was looking at the WHO and the United Nations as the two biggest things, and NATO, of course, and that relationship. So, I mean, if you think about it, back when Dave first started doing his podcast about the V's, okay, and all that, he could get away with having that video. That video could be up for a whole year, okay. But then once a serious medical issue came out, boom, anybody who had that kind of a message was automatically terminated. Okay, we're watching the same thing with Kennedy guy, Robert Kennedy. They're censoring him off of news for talking about that. Okay, and why are they censoring him off of that? Because they go by this by the rules placed by the WHO. Okay, what does YouTube do when it comes to what they call medical misinformation? Okay, they're going by the WHO guidelines, and they even tell you they even tell you that they're affiliated with the WHO and they following their guidelines. So,
well, Hawk, I agree. Like I think
Go
that
ahead.
John, yeah.
John, yeah, what John's saying is true, but I think that's the beginning level. Those people have those intentions. They want power, but they get into the group and they get indoctrinated to the plan that's already been there. And that's what people have to realize. This isn't just the people that come to it. Yes, they may have intentions of, well, I think we know how to run the planet better, and they get in the group. But this plan has been there for a very long time, and it's very nefarious, but it's also very intricate. And even the WHO and the WEF are probably the surface level because they're public of what this plan is really about. And who knows how long or where it started. Yes, we could go back to that, but this plan's been in place for a very, very long time, and it sucks these people in. It's like when we as human beings, you get a choice in this life. You may not realize it, but you're getting a choice through your actions. If you're in Hollywood, you definitely get a choice. You either go to these parties, you get certain tests, and then if you do a particular ritual or whatever, you go to a certain party and the doors close and something happens, you can have a choice to participate. Sometimes you don't, but we get a choice, and those people are getting siphoned to that because of their energy, because of who they are, and they do make that choice. But the plan has been in place for a very, very long time, and that's a fact. And I think people, that's why Q has to take so much time. It's combating something that's been in charge of us for a very long time, very long time. But that's just what I wanted to add. I mean, everybody's right, and these people do. Some actually may think they have great intentions because they want to help. They think they're saving the earth by reducing the population. But then they get recruited to go into what the real plan is, and it may go along with what they thought all along. But the fact is that plan exists, and it's existed for a long time.
Oh yeah, that's just like, the four of us sitting here and plus the chat, we are all looking at things. But there are groups out there like Cambridge Analytica, the Committee of 300, the Bilderberg groups, all these different committees out there. And some of them do have our interest. It's kind of like trying to balance things out.
Right,
And,
right.
And that's why I said, you were saying it is a complex thing. There's no simple answer because a lot of times there can be more than one. And something I'm noticing too is, we're all looking at symbology and numbers and different things like that, which goes way back. That, some of these, they're using wordplay. These people are intellectuals and they're used to the intellectual game. It's like who can get away with more, who's smarter than more. And they look at us as really stupid. That's like, we're finding out that there are things, like you were saying, Dave, the indoctrination, how much could they get away with? And some of it is just them taking that to their level to where it's like, look, these stupid idiots believed that, and I think too, I think there is part of what's going on right now is to they call it the Great Awakening or whatever you want to call it. But it is to let us realize that, there are people out here who don't have our best interest at heart. And, we can do things, by American, be human. That's like we have a lot of wars that we just jumped in and went with, but now we're on to them. It's like, well, we was caught into that, I still have my hopes and my beliefs. It's not that all are like our military. A lot of people are like, let's do away with the military. I think it needs to be redone. I think it needs to be gone through because I believe even the military people, Hawk, and me, and everybody else is like, wow, we're all being played like on a chessboard. We're the pawns, And with that, once you realize that, it's like, wow, now we have the choice, And I hope like the military and the police and our government and everybody's realizing, wow, there's been this great deception upon us in our media, and rogue governments and all kinds of different things like that, this is up to, like, the crooked cops. I think it's up to the good cops to get them out.
So go ahead and finish up on the cops, John.
Well, that was pretty much it. But I think that's the kind of the key to everything. Where it's like clean the house, the police have to clean their house, the military has to clean their house, the government has to clean house because we can't really do it.
Not to interrupt you, John, but I think that's absolutely perfect analogy is because when I think about just us, if I were in an intelligence agency and I started seeing this data, I wouldn't stand by and just let it happen, right? If I were a cop and I had a good group of friends, 12 cops that were all good cops, even if they're in different jurisdictions, and I saw some really nefarious child trafficking going on, I would call my buddies to say, listen, we've got 12 of us. We need to group together. This is what's happening. Let's take care of this thing. So that we're the majority and know that these patriots and cops and whoever have seen this and are doing the same thing. Because there's no way I could sit by and let that happen. They're doing the same thing. Especially veterans who've seen combat, who've seen, who bled for this country, and then they see this shit going on, that they're not calling their buddies, going, "Listen, man, this is bigger than what we thought, but we can't let this stand." Like, what did we do this for? And we have to be in the majority. We have to be, because there's no way, if I were in any of those positions, and I'm not brave, I'm not, if anything, I'm lazy and procrastinistic. I'm not.
I could vouch for that.
Yeah, he can vouch for it. But I couldn't stand by if I was in those positions. So how the heck can they? And that's what, isn't that what Q says? The people that know can't sleep at night. How
Yeah.
could they?
Right.
And I think that's absolute truth. Like, the good cops are probably, we can't rely on them 100% to take care of it. But how, I can't sleep at night when I think about this stuff. And we're only on the fringes. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, it's disheartening. I mean, we wouldn't even have this movement if any of us could really stomach it. We can't, and we don't know. We've got guys who've seen the pictures or been on the crime scenes or been in the tunnels, actually see that shit. You think they're going to let it slide? No way. There's no way. So that gives me hope, because mostly people are good people. When you talk to people, we don't come down here as bad people. We come down here as babies. We come down here as good people. And I think a minority gets swayed to the dark side, but the majority are just good people who want to live. And when they learn this shit, they're like, hell no. And that's what frustrates people, because they're like, let's just handle this now.
Yep.
But it goes so deep, and it's happened for so long, and the plan's been been there for so long, that it's much bigger than what people think.
But by the way, did I tell you how much I enjoy your beard right now? It's like, I didn't say that at dinner. I apologize.
You know,
it's kind of like, honey, I got my hair done. You didn't even notice.
You know,
that
really
was the situation.
enjoys my beard.
Who? Oh yeah, that's great. That's funny. So what's really exciting about this beard that Ed's sporting right now is that I've known him for 20 some years. This is the first year I think he's been able to grow a full one. So congratulations, buddy. I just wanted to say that. So John, could you tell me where you came into this whole picture, your knowledge of, your awakening, if you could give us like a couple minute, just download as to your awakening, how you came to know Hawk, how you came to know me, just kind of like bring us up to speed, if you wouldn't mind. Well,
For me, it was gradual for many years. I always tried to figure out things. That's like going to church. I had questions that nobody could answer. When I looked at government, and I, even my parents and stuff like that, kind of like your answer was always, well, this is the way it is, but then it's like, well, why is that? But nobody can answer that question. There was just so many things that didn't add up until I'd say 98 probably. Then I started really noticing more and more, because I was having health issues and going to these doctors, and the doctors were just kind of like, even one doctor told me, he said, we can't jump into the more like an x-ray or an MRI because your insurance company would frown upon that or not cover it. And I'm like, well, what's this? It's not even about me. It's about who's going to pay the bill or who can pay more, So this was kind of the whole gradual thing. But I think more so in 2020, I always call that the year of perfect vision. And I believe that was when I met Hawk around that time, where we were on Cash Kelly. You remember that, Hawk?
Yes, I do.
And, and I got to know Hawk and, different things. And we would discuss things like the dues and, the different things, Nashville incidences and these different things like that. And too, the internet has taken off, and I became hooked. You might as well call me an algorithm. You know?
I think they believe us now about the direct energy weapons. You think
I think
that was 5 years ago,
yeah.
you know, and we were talking about we were actually showing videos of dudes back then, and people didn't believe what they were seeing.
Right.
And now look at what's going on.
That's like the whole Nashville incident and what happened there. And I mean, there's all kinds of things. It just one after the other. But you know, and I'm really a history buff. I love history. I love looking back, and it's kind of like with the internet. I see where a lot of people we are people. Our human instinct is, you know, we'll see something, and we have that cognitive distances where, you know, if we like what we see, we'll want to believe that. If there's something over here that counters it, it's kind of like we dismiss that instead of being able to take the two and say, wow, you know, something's up here. You know, to me, it's always like that two sides to the same coin going on. And if you actually look at it, whether you look at it biblically or even historically, everything's always divided into two, you know, yin, yang, good, bad, Democrat, Republican. You know, we could sit here all day because everything has an opposite to it. And I believe that is where we have to look at both and say, well, you know, this was created, the two. And that was something I think that like the Twin Towers represented. You know, the two. They blew them up. They came down. Now there's one. And they wanted to name it because it's 1,776 feet tall. They wanted to name it the Freedom Tower. But I guess there was an argument amongst who, I don't know. But instead they named it the One World Trade Center. You know? So it's kind of like, okay, they're always playing us, you know? And they'll use anything to do that. That's like, you know, you see where there's a lot of black and white people, kind of turmoil, you know. They call it racist, but I don't believe there is a race. I believe we're all one race. I believe it's a human race.
So your awakening then, how long ago was it?
I could say the major wake up was 2020. You know,
2020. Okay, so you are the largest class that's ever come through the awakening, right? 2020 was when people were sent home. You know, go home from work, go home from school, and let's start researching this shit.
Mhm.
And then, you know, people. That's when people found me, was March of 2020 primarily. That's my biggest month when people were like, who is this guy? And I shot up to, you know, several thousand, a live show, you know, that summer after that. So it was a big time. It was the awakening, the Great Awakening. And so you're among friends. Like there's a lot of people that did that, right? So imagine that it's the kind of curve that I envision is kind of a bell curve where it's been going along here, and then 9/11 people, you know, JFK, you know, then 9/11, and it's slowly people are awakening, but I see it going at this kind of an angle, an exponential, you know, awakening rise. And yet Q said there's 4 to 6% won't make it, that they won't wake up. They're too far gone, they're too far lazy, they're too far indoctrinated. And so, but we are witnessing, I believe, the one of the greatest times in human history. And I'm proud to be a part of it, and I'm honored to be playing a role in it, and to not take this lightly, because we're at a very important time in human history, and I don't even think we get how important it is.
Well, too, Dave, if you actually look like in 1776, it was called the American Enlightenment. You can say what you will about like some of these different organizations, but throughout history, there was things that happened that made people more aware of what's going around them, what's going on around their country, their world, like the printing press, the encyclopedia, books, and then came, I believe part of our decline was like television, because now it's more instantaneous. They can actually put what they want in our minds. People stopped reading as many books, even though, we still had libraries and stuff, but people were more entertained than trying to learn. So it just progressed. Like even today, here we are at this stage where, look, we're talking to each other and we're having communications, and we could type in whatever it is we want to find. And even some of that stuff, you have to look, because it's like, okay, who was the author of this book? Were they, a Marxist supporter? Or were they communist supporter? Were they, different, all kinds of different mentalities that they are projecting out into the public through their books or the things we see on here. And that's why I say it's like, this is an awesome tool that we can use, but it can also spark a lot of bad stuff. Like, if you really wanted to promote racial division, or class division, or even though some of that does exist, you can intensify it to where we might have a racial war or a civil war, or, because people are using them and us terminology, but it's just people who believe differently, because they're looking at the left, they call it the left hand, right hand scenarios,
So I want to get Ed in on this a little bit. It's really about, to me, like, what are we doing personally to prepare for, because we have to look at things as a best case scenario and a worst case scenario. So what do we need to do? What are you doing? What should we be thinking about right now? All this stuff is like, it's philosophical, unless we put it into action, or we put it into substance. What do you what should we be preparing for right now?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
No. Well, there's different levels. You've got to. This is hard to say. You've got to prepare on a bit. It's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? That pyramid. If somebody pulls that up, but you've got your base level, your survivability, which maybe that's not the hierarchy of needs, but your base level is what you're doing physically, right? You have food, you have water, financially, Most of us are screwed. We're at the bottom of the pyramid. How are we? It's hard to prepare for something you don't know that's going to happen, but you do know everybody has an idea of we're all trying to run away from things going bad in our life. So if things did go bad in our life, what would that look like? And then what would we have to do physically to prepare? If we have a family, everybody's situation is different. What's our family? Then it goes to the mental. How are we going to mentally survive this? We can take COVID as an example. We weren't really prepared for that, but how do we make it through? If we have a new COVID that's 10 times worse, we at least have we have an idea of what COVID was like because we lived through it. And now we can prognosticate and say, okay, if it's 10 times worse, what actions would I have to take? But mentally, what would I have to do to prepare for that? And it just goes up from there. And honestly, you're going to have to go all the way to the top. Like, are you spiritually fit? Or how's your spiritual fitness if things go all the way to the extreme of World War III? What's your spiritual fitness? What's your mental acuity to get you through that? What's your mental fortitude to get you through that? What's your faith to get you through that? And you have to hit all those areas to really, really prepare. The problem is we don't know how it's going to go, and it's a fight. Nobody knows how they will respond to a fight until they get hit in the face. And you've got, most people will freeze, will run away. Well, I won't say most people. The choices are you will freeze, you will run away, or you will go forward. And we don't know as individuals, especially in America, 'cause we've had hard times, but we haven't had the hard times of our ancestors. We haven't had a world war. We haven't had martial law with paramilitary in the streets gunning people down because they denied their lockdown. So, I mean, it's hard to answer. Most of us don't have money to build a bunker. We don't have food to last more than a few months. Some people may have a year. But what if it goes 5 years? We don't know. So once you've exhausted all that, you've got to get, to me, you've got to get to a higher level and say, okay, what's your faith? What do you think is going to get you actually through this? Because if it's the way I think, the way things are, I don't know how anyone could actually prepare for that. I would be prepared more than anybody I know because of my experiences, just as my mental being able to accept it if it actually happens. But I don't know if that'd be enough to help me get my family through it. So that's a hard question, man. I honestly don't know. But I think it's being honest with, here's where I'm at, here's where I'm prepared this far. If it goes here, what could I actually do? Because if we have mortars hitting outside our house, I had my family inside, and there was a broadcast to go here at this FEMA center, what are my choices? Right? Like that's like, how would you actually respond to that? I don't know. It's tough. But I think it comes to your mental state. Like people who don't even contemplate that these things could happen are gonna be a huge disadvantage.
I think there are a couple key things that we need to do to prepare for such a thing, and that is to understand the manipulation of humanity that we've been subject to for many, many years. And that we have to understand that almost everything that we have reacted to in the past was engineered for that exact reaction. That is the indoctrination. That is the matrix. That is the control mechanism of our minds.
With that, what you're saying, even like what we're talking about here. You know, we're talking about what if this happens, what if that happens, and what
Well,
if
hold on, John, hold that thought because I'm on a roll.
okay.
So, and I haven't gotten to the end of my thought. So, you know, we if we focus on what we really need to keep from going down the same path that our forefathers went down, our predecessors went down, with the, let's call it 200 million people that were genocided in the 20th century because of the same mechanisms that they're putting in place to us now. We have to understand the history of this. Like, people are like, oh, I got my guns and I got my ammo and I got my food. Well, that's fine if they show up at your doorstep. The problem is we're allowing them in the door, into our living rooms, into our cell phones, into our ears, into our eyes every single day. This manipulation system that has now gone from mainstream into the alternative media. Everyone's like, oh, Ben Shapiro. Oh, Ben Shapiro. Oh, really? Let's see what happening over in Israel. Now let's see what you think about Ben Shapiro. In Gaza. Okay. Now what do you think about Ben Shapiro? Do you realize that Ben Shapiro was a controlled opposition? Are you realizing that these people that are popping up, the shills, are controlled opposition to capture our brain? Like Steven said last night, Hawk, when we did the show together, entertainment, entertain your
To hold on to. Yep.
and ment, which is your mind, entertainment. Like, they're grabbing onto our minds. Doesn't matter how many fucking bullets you have if you don't know who to shoot them at. So they've manipulated our minds to a level of not just reactive knee-jerk in the direction. I mean, here's the thing we got to remember, that all these people with the, going from the mask banner to the Ukraine banner to the jab banner to the, we all look down upon those people, but we are being presented similar banners, and we need to be aware of that. And just on that topic alone, John, do you care to elaborate on that?
I'm with you 100%, Dave. And that's why I say this technology, we went from radio, TV, record players to this. With this now, just like this discussion we're having, the people in chat, now they can be more precise. That's like Event 201. They already in their scenario. Now let's put it in reality, and let's see how close our prediction was to what really happens. So in some ways, they're using this technology to gather what we think, how we react. They're getting better. They're taking all this data and they're feeding it into their AI generated computers to see, because they're taking us into we were already into a more or less a computer simulation, but it was based on lies, lies and deception. It's all smoke and mirrors. And even like what we're talking about now, they put things in this out into the public because, they want us to believe, it's this group or that group, but the government, the military, the upper powers of the world have actually this is all by design. They want, this is just a part of their plan. But, my favorite saying is, how can I change this world? I start with myself. That's like, they might want me to combat you, Dave, because for whatever reason, maybe it's because you speak the wrong words, or you're a different shade of white than I am, or whatever. But they're wanting to get to the point where everything is, instead of macro managed, it's micro managed. And they've shown us that through, like, China. If you look at China, the investors, the people who make things happen, they built China up. It was a lot of U.S. investors that built China up, and it's like, well, how come if China is our enemy, how come they're building them up? How could they have been allowed to build them up is a bigger thing. They're sending our jobs to different countries and different things like that. And it's like, so what is the plan? That only they probably know that, and probably very few do. But, I'm seeing things happen to where, things are coming to light, like Mitch McConnell's sister-in-law. Did you see about that? She drowned in a pond.
You mean the one that died, and in a very
Suspicious.
ridiculous circumstances. Not even suspicious, like ridiculous.
Right. And there's a lot of that going on. How we was just talking earlier, they think we're stupid. It's like, what can we put out there and get away with? And it's kind of like, no matter how they whatever they come up with, it's like the best they can do is something that people are like, wow, they really expect us to believe that, But if you look at her sister, Mitch's wife's sister, and who she was married to, these people have very influential positions in different, like, Google and Facebook, and so it's kind of like, wow, these are the people who, if anything, I think there is a good versus evil forces in this world, and I do believe there is good. And like I said, I believe there is good military. So I don't hold the military down, it just needs to be gone through. I don't hold the police down. I don't think we should eliminate any of this, because the U.S. is under attack, because, when Bush gave his speech about, the United Nations and stuff like that, the U.S. helped implement this global thing they're calling, and a lot of people are saying, even Russia and China and these, saying, no, we don't want to go this route, because, nobody should have that much power, even if they say, like the UN, when you look at that, they say China has the most influence over the UN. So it's like, we don't want to be a part of something where this group of communists has more say so than we do, And there's other things like that. If you look at like NATO and different stuff like that, there's company or countries that hate the United States, and I'll put it this way: government of the United States, And if anything, I think there is a world movement to get these people out of government, drain the swamp, And I think Trump's part of that. I think he is. With his influence, because Trump isn't just Trump. Anybody you look at is more or less like just the front man. Behind Trump, there's a whole big movement going on. It's not just Trump. And, the Democrat, the Republican, these are kind of fronts for, bigger entities at play.
So, Hawk, what are your thoughts, brother?
Well, you know, I look at the last 4 years and I see how the control mechanisms are working. You know, how do you prepare for something like this? Well, honestly, um, I've been watching the prepping side, you know, watching what they're doing. I've been watching the just straight up information people and what they're doing. I've been watching the prayer people, you know, and watching what they're doing. I've been watching the black community um, very intently because I like what I'm seeing and I'm finding it inspiring to me in many ways because the way that they're coming forward and recognizing what is going on, what they are now seeing, you know, they had a feeling about it before. You know, they had a feeling about it before. Okay. They just never acted upon the feeling because they didn't think that they were going to find anything better on the other side. You know, because sometimes, the grass ain't always greener on the other side. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But they're finding out that the grass is greener on the other side. Okay. And I'm liking what I'm seeing now, but there's a totally another class of it, a younger class that is, in your intentional term, indoctrinated in hate and paranoia. I mean, and not just a little paranoia, a very, very large paranoia. Okay. So such and such race is out to get you. Such and such race is out to get you. Such and such race is out to get you. So that everybody was hating everybody. But over the last year, I would say a good solid year, I've been able to see past those that are the brought in shills trying to control the narrative and where the direction of the conversation goes, to these very small influencers that were totally on the other side. Absolutely no doubt. We're totally on the other side. But through specific situations and what is happening today, both financially, physically, medically, mentally, because we're getting mentally attacked as much as we're getting spiritually attacked. Absolutely no doubt. John said it before, is that they're wrapping these narratives in such a way to trick you, and they've already got the next narrative already planned. Oh, there's the Labradoodle.
That's
Labradoodle.
That's Brenly.
Brinley. Oh. If I could get one of the dogs howling, I bet he'd be barking back. It's
Don't wake him up on her account.
No, I'm not. Trust me, I'm not going to. Oh Lord, you heard what it was like last night with the puppies. I was like,
Yeah.
oh Lord, yeah.
There's a lot of things, Hawk, that we were never taught in school or even in life. Did you know there was actually a Communist Party, United States Communist Party?
Yep.
And
Sure. Yeah.
and it still exists, but it's not talked about, but it's still there. How they went, call themselves Democrat, you know, or are they in both parties? You
Well,
know,
they're absolutely in both parties.
right?
That's a and that's the aspect of
Yeah.
it's infiltration instead of invasion.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
John, did you see my decode of the snake?
I'm not sure if I did or not, Dave. I can't, you know,
The
I
snake
might have.
poem. Are you on X?
No, I'm not on X.
Okay. It's the battlefield. If I may recommend, it's important to I think to be there. If nothing else, to stop the next level of censorship. But one of the things that I did was I did the decode of the snake story, which was and it was written by a gentleman by the name of Oscar Brown in 1963. And this is the snake poem that Trump reads all the time. It was actually a song. And so, excuse me. So this guy, Oscar Brown, he was in Chicago, and he and Vernon Jarrett, who was his partner in the Negro newscast that was syndicated nationally, they were partners and they were card-carrying communists. And Oscar Brown, who was the one who wrote the snake poem, actually said he quit. He stopped in 1954. He stopped doing the Communist Party. And when asked why he quit, he said, "Thank you, brother." He said that I'm too black. I'm too black to be red, because communism does not favor, you know, racial equality. It's not a forgiving existence. And so yeah, the Negro News Front he did with Vernon Jarrett. Now, John, one of the things that a lot of people don't know, I think I'm the only one that has made this connection, is that Vernon Jarrett went on to have a child by the name of William, who married a gal named Valerie Bowman. And Valerie Bowman was born in Iran. And Valerie Bowman married William Jarrett and became Valerie Jarrett, who was Obama's right hand throughout his presidency and leading up to it, and was so close to Obama that she actually moved in with the Obamas when they moved to Northwest DC after his term. And even the mainstream media questioned that move of why would a president stay in DC that's not from DC? Well, we now know that that was to infiltrate and overtake the Trump administration and get back to where they needed to be. So a lot of people haven't made that connection. And so that connection, to me, makes Obama and the Muslim Brotherhood and the Muslim migration that Ed was talking about, not just in Europe, but in the United States, because he always brings it up when they're talking about the migration problem, the border problem. But I really believe he's speaking directly about Obama and Valerie Jarrett and the Muslim Brotherhood infiltration into not just our government, but into our nation. And when I posted this, one of the more eloquent rebuttals to what I said, which I welcome, by the way. One guy said, he's talking about himself, bozo. And I even said, hey, Hawk, would you scroll back up just a little bit, just to the top of these names, please? And I even said, I was able to state my case and to ask for your thoughts without name calling. Maybe you should try the same. Those are the weaker comments. Like, listen, let's engage in conversation. Don't be a dick. But another conversation was with a woman who said that that it's not the Muslims aren't the problem, the Jews are the problem. And I replied, and if you could find that, Hawk, that'd be great. But if not, that's fine. But I replied to something to the fact of, who was responsible for the African slaves in the United States? The Jews. Who was responsible for the invasion of Europe through Middle East? Jews. How about the southern border? Because she said Soros is a Jew. And I said, same thing. Hayes, Soros, and also in collusion with China is the problem at the southern border. So these are all areas that I think need to be, tended to, but also are very clear to me as to what's really going on in the world. What do you think, Ed?
Your feed. What's funny, Dave, is I left that and I went back into your feed, and okay, all right, I finally found it. Jeez, I'm like, it moved it like halfway down the screen in the list now, so it's not the third post down. Now it's the 12th or 13th. It's freaking crazy. They moved it that fast.
On my timeline?
Yeah.
I haven't added anything. Are you talking about the snake?
Yeah. So the names.
Okay.
Where did you want me to stop?
Well, we're not seeing anything right now, but I can pull it up here. I can share it.
You should be seeing it. It should be on your screen right now.
Oh, you know what? I might be okay. There it is. Okay. So basically, who organized and profited from the African slave trade? Khazarian Mafia Jews. Who organized and profited from European migrant invasion? Khazarian Mafia Jews. Who is organizing and profiting from the U.S. migrant invasion? Khazarian Mafia Jews. So I was in lockstep with her, but the look at how the Jews, the Zionists, used 9/11 for us to go and annihilate, millions of, Arabs in Iraq and Afghanistan. Who did that? Fucking, Israel, Mossad. Who was responsible for Epstein? Who was responsible for that list? Who was responsible for that entire honeypot? Who gives passports, dual citizenship to Congress? Israel. That's what we get for all that money. But you and I don't benefit. You and I don't benefit. Only the people that are writing the laws and the regulations and the stipulations and the where does the money go to? They're the ones that really are, So it's we have to look beyond the surface, beneath the surface of the things that are being presented to us. And this goes back to the indoctrination. This goes back to the mind fuckery that we're under, and how we are being played like a fiddle. And we just need to know the most important thing for us to realize is that we are in a fight. We are in a battle for our lives.
John,
Have
you want
you
to
ever-
drop some text?
Have you ever looked into the Barbary slave trade? There's oh, there you go.
I kind of figured that's why you put them in the private. I didn't know if you wanted me to pull them up or if you were going to pull them up. So,
See, it goes way back. Even white people were slaves. And it started with the Muslim people. They were the ones who really, yeah, they were the ones who really kicked in the slave industry. And white people were a part of it. And this is part of history we don't see. Not only, they were dealing in white people, black people, it didn't matter, and there's actually, if you take it on to the galley rowers, this was the worst treatment of white slaves there was. These people were put behind the rows of these ships, the oars, you've seen them in the movies, and they were not allowed to leave. They rowed until they died. A lot of times they weren't allowed to even go use the bathroom. They had to do it right there in place. A lot of white women were high commodities. You'd have to read that article. And there, you can look, once you look for Barbary slave trade, you'll find all kinds of stuff on it.
So where does anyone know where slavery started?
I believe it was there, the Barbary slave trade. There's actually a group called the Talmud, or not Talmud, the Mamluk, Mamluk. And they would, when they captured a community or a village, they would take the people and they became, and it's kind of like the word servitude. They were slaves, but the more cooperative you were, the more freely you could actually be. And then they actually even gave some of them their freedom and different things like that.
So slavery goes back. I mean, if we went, if we really wanted to get into it, back in if we go back in the Bible, whoever was the king, everybody was a serf. So everybody had to either grow something, raise something, provide something, or give something to the king. It's always been that way. That was the hierarchy of it all,
Yeah. So does everything go back to the Egyptian religion?
Well,
I think slavery does.
No, it goes back even farther than that. Because I mean the Egyptians, in all actuality, the Israelites, the Hebrews, I should say, the Hebrew Israelites, okay, they became so indebted to the Egyptians that that after Joseph, so the 12 tribes of Israel was born the day that that Jacob entered Egypt, okay, to meet his son Joseph, who had been sold into slavery by Syrian slave traders. Okay, his brothers sold him to a Syrian slave trader, and they did it because he had two dreams. Okay. The first dream that he had was that him and his brothers came out of the field carrying bundles of hay, you know, and they would bind him up, and then they would stand him up on end so that the wheat
Justice on any
for
Shit is-
the wheat
probably
that
not.
and the grain that they would feed the animals, okay, would come off of that, and then the stalks would be ground down and burned, and used for other things. The brothers all gathered around, and they all stood up their bindings of wheat, and in the dream, his stayed standing up, but all the brothers all fell down prostrate, to the ground. They wouldn't stay standing up. They all fell down, but his is the only one that remained standing. So he told his father this dream. The brothers told, you have to tell Jacob. You have to tell Jacob this dream. Now he's a young boy. He's only 13 years old. Okay. So he tells his father, and then his father said, "Well, did you have a second dream?" And he says, "Well, I didn't want to tell anybody because they'd laughed at me because of the first dream, And the second dream was that the sun and the moon and the stars would pay homage to me." Okay, so the brothers were all again mocking him, laughing at him, saying and that totally triggered my brain. So basically what it was the brothers or the father was already mad at all the older brothers because they did something wrong, that they had to leave a certain area because they went and they killed an entire, slaughtered a city, is what they did, because their sister was raped there. So they killed all the men, and then they ran away from there. So dad was already pissed off at him. Jacob was already mad at all the sons. So Joseph was given the coat of many colors, okay, because he didn't participate. He wasn't involved in that, and he was the first son born of Rachel, his true love. The other boys were born from slaves that both his wife and her sister, who is also his wife, that he was tricked into marrying. Those were all sons that were born out of necessity, where Rachel's two sons were the sons of his love, because I don't know if you know the story of Joseph or Jacob, but there was a whole big tricking where he ended up having to marry both sisters, and he ended up 14 years indentured to this guy for each wife. The one that he loved, he couldn't get until after the older sister was married first. So anyways, so they sell Joseph off, okay, because he's now the inheritance. He's the youngest child, and he gets all the inheritance, okay. And so what ended up happening was they sold him off to a Syrian slave. He goes and they take him into Egypt, and they sold him, okay. Well, the boy grows up. 20 years later, he is the second man to Pharaoh. Only Pharaoh controls, has power above him. Okay. He saves them because of a dream. Of what? A dream. He has a dream. The sun and the moon and the stars will pay homage to him. Okay. So the people of Egypt, okay, the Pharaoh listened to Joseph when he said, "You're going to have 7 years of great harvest and then 7 years of famine." Well, what can I do? He told the Pharaoh his dream. The Pharaoh didn't tell him anything. Okay, he told the Pharaoh his dream, and Pharaoh was like, "Oh, how does he know this?" And then the next day he says, "Okay, that's it. You're going to become my second man. You're going to be, no one in the country is going to be above you." Okay. So 20 years he's been working for Pharaoh, okay? And all of a sudden, or for 7 years he's been working for Pharaoh. and the famine starts. And guess who's got to come to Egypt in order to get food? The 12 brothers that sold him, or the 11 brothers that sold him into slavery. Okay. Then they discover that he's Joseph. They bring father out there, and they become residents there in Egypt. They move to the land of Goshen. Okay. Now, as long as Jacob was alive, they were paying their fair share. They were paying their taxes. They were paying Egyptian taxes. They were living on Egyptian land, so you pay Egyptian taxes. Okay. And when Joseph died, and the Pharaoh died, and Jacob died, the new Pharaoh was waiting for his taxes. For 300 years, the tribe of Judah and the 11 other tribes all lived on the Egyptian land and refused to pay taxes. Well, they also stopped paying for goods. They had such credit debt and everything else. That's what turned them into slaves. That's why they became slaves, and they indentured for 400 years.
But that's not where slavery started, because the brothers were already slaves.
Well, the brothers sold the brother in. So the Syrians.
No, but wasn't the mother? The mother was a slave.
No,
the mother of the brothers was a slave.
No. They had the mother of the mother of the brothers each had a slave.
But slavery existed before.
Exactly. It was Syrian slave traders who did all the selling. They were the ones who traveled from country to country, and they traveled in great packs, and that's how they were easily able to. They were the first human traffickers. So, and it's said that their line actually goes back to Samaria, which they're just now finding writings about.
But too, like you was talking about Jacob, when he was trying to get his wife, he had to marry the older daughter to get to the one he wanted.
They tricked him.
They didn't call that servitude, or they didn't call that slavery. That was servitude.
Serfdom is what they call it.
Serfdom. So I think too, a lot of people have a misconception. They get those two mixed up. Some people are calling it slavery, and that's just like when I shared that with you, as far as like the Muslims and the Barbary, and some of their people that they took were Slav. And they say that's where the word slave came from. That's when it started originally becoming slavery, because they actually did not have a choice. I believe, as far as like servitude, I believe they actually had a choice. They could actually willingly go serve someone under a contract, and then they can actually work that off and become free men. Just like with Joseph, he was given oxen and sheep, and basically what he was doing, he was in an apprenticeship program, what we would call today.
John, where was the ancient Slavic? Because I know slave comes from that, and somebody was talking to me about that last week. So what would that ancient culture be?
That was the Caucasus, I believe.
Caucasus?
Which was originally the Slavs.
Oh, the Ottoman. For the Barbary, for the Barbary slavery, it was the Ottomans.
Right,
they were just coming out of the Ottoman period.
Yeah, Egypt, Caucasus.
You notice how too the maps we have today do not reflect ancient geography. Like, there's nowhere does it say Persia, nowhere does it say the Ottomans, nowhere does it say
the maps we see now don't even represent what we know to be true now.
Right.
When I was a kid, South America was here. Now it's way over here underneath Florida.
Oh, if you ever
all the way to the west
It's like
coast.
it's floating.
If
Yeah,
you just look into the old maps, it's like, wow, you know, I mean, there must have been some serious, what they call it, continental drifting going on.
yeah, right.
Well, you know, again, you know, we're looking at the firmament, the waters above and below. In a way, we are kind of an island, you know. If you got water above you and you got water below you, then you're kind of, yeah, you're kind of floating. But you know, the thing about that is that um, it there's more on the outside of the ice wall. I'm telling you, there's
Oh, hell yeah.
there's I think that there's a shitload of continents out there, and we
I
just don't know.
counted 33 at one point, and then thought about the 33rd degrees of the Freemasons, and I believe the 33rd degree Freemasons are the ones that are given the keys to the kingdom and the information about what you're talking about right now. Please continue.
You know, this is a, you know, and the reason that I think that is because it doesn't seem feasible to me that it's like we're feeding something inside this bubble, not just not just our souls, you know, I feel like we're feeding something energy wise
Loosh.
that we are, and I think the reason that we feel drained is not because we overexerted ourselves, but because something siphoned something off of us.
Is anybody else feeling, and I'm sorry Ed's going to miss this, but I think he can hear me. Is anybody else feeling like they're shifting into a different paradigm, that the things that once affected us no longer do? Is anybody else feeling that or experiencing that?
I used to freak out just before the beginning of every month Bill's time. And for the last year, I'm not, I don't even worry. I don't even worry. There's just, it's like, there's, my body and my head are both like in the same place now. And it's, that's why I'm so calm about all this shit. You know, I get mad at people, you know, because of stupid fucking things. Because it's so obviously stupid, you know, and it's you know, and it's frustrating when those that you are trying to awaken don't see it yet. They don't see it yet. But at the same time, it's like I'm okay with it because I'm like I know you're gonna get it, and you're gonna get it. You know, it's like it's that event. You know, think about what this event would be. You know, seriously. You know, I don't think it would just be somebody coming out. You know, say for instance, JFK Jr. was alive, okay, and just came out with Donald Trump, okay. Let's just throw that out there. Let's say, do you think that that's enough to wake up the world? You know, do you
Say
think
that again, Hawk. We're watching our two dogs just absolutely like square off and like poke each other and try to get into it. It's a little bit distracting.
Okay.
So I apologize.
I was saying was, you know, I don't think that JFK Jr. walking out on stage with Donald Trump is going to be enough to wake up the world.
No. It's Q said it, and I looked it up earlier. It's and I read the Q drop. It's the crimes against children.
Yeah.
Will reach across party lines and unite all of humanity.
Okay, now how many times did Q talk about Haiti?
Quite a few.
Okay, and
And
look at what's going on
because
in Haiti right now.
yeah, and primarily because the exposure of that, not just the corruption from the Clinton Foundation, but the the fact that hold on a second, sorry, there we go.
Is that what John, is this what you think is going to be what wakes everybody up?
Well, I think we might even be experiencing part of that now.
Okay.
You know, with
you were saying that I saw her walked out of the room. You were saying you felt like you're being drained, like you're being fed on.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm not the only person who's felt that way.
No. It's, me too. I mean, there is, they call it loosh, which is like negative energy, which could be one of the main reasons why we have news.
Yeah.
I've got stories where I could like tell you I've seen some things, but absolutely, and it could be done technologically too. They could be beaming. So I mean, I've been really drained myself, but
Same.
but there is, it could be done with satellites. But there is information out there about, us as humans. We're creative, and we emit light, we emit energy, and if they get us to emit negative energy, there are, in my opinion, there are things on different
Ed, do you think they're reptilians?
What's that?
Do you think that there are reptilians?
Do I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
So, when you were a kid, do you remember a TV show called
Land of the Lost?
Okay. What were the name of those lizards?
Do you see my my hat?
Will and Holly. Dude, he's got a slee stack hat, dude.
Oh, no, he doesn't.
Yeah, look at it.
No, hang on. We got your thing up. Hang on.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Hang on. Let me. Hang on. I'm doing a solo layout. I'll be damned. Okay, guys. There we go.
By the way, he finished your sentence. I don't know if you heard him, but you said, "Do you remember that show?" And then we're growing up, and
Land of the Lost. Yep.
And he's like, "Land of the Lost."
Land of the Lost, man.
Yeah,
it's true. I mean, I've seen them.
Okay, now think of the technology that they had compared to the family, right?
Yeah.
So, guys, this is, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've seen them. When I was a kid, I've seen things since I was 4.
Ed's been abducted.
I have. And it goes way beyond I don't know. I don't want to get in. I don't want to freak out
we're gonna do a show. Ed has already agreed to do a show that we're gonna talk about his abductions, and so, but that really needs to be a standalone.
Yeah, it'll throw people off. But and there a lot of it is misinformation. A lot of it's government too. Like you kind of have to know what's real, what's not, what's misinformation. It all exists. Like fake aliens, that exists as well. Like honestly, real alien abduction is very rare, but it's true, man. And where they come from,
they're aliens. I think they were. I think they were here. Well,
and it's different kinds, different levels of consciousness. The beings exist in all different dimensions.
Can you pull up that map, Hawk? That last link.
It'd actually be better if Dave did, because it would.
What are we looking for?
The last link I sent in the private.
Look at the private.
Okay.
Yeah, for pictures and videos, it's better if he does it, or else I got to turn my camera off and all that stuff.
It's not bringing me up anything that I can actually see. There's the Honesty, the plasma event, but then there's the one after that, and when I click on it, it says
no file by this image.
check that link again if you would,
Yeah.
John.
John, it says no file by this name exists.
Huh.
File 1606 Mercator Hondius map of the Arctic. Yeah, it doesn't. Let me do a search on DuckDuckGo for it and see if
The Mercator map, the Gleason map is the bomb. If you look up the Gleason map, but
let's see here.
yeah, we gotta. It's 1:20 here. We need to wrap things up because of the time and the fact that I have not been getting good sleep the past few nights. And a shout out to my brother Craig, who passed away a year ago Tuesday, and also the indoctrination, which really began March 11th, 2019. And that was my my video about my birthday and my friend who had just been placed into a coma at UCLA Medical Center. And I went I turned back because her husband, who I talked to yesterday for my birthday, 2 days ago, said that they induced a coma and she was in ICU, and then he couldn't even get in to see her. So I would, but he was going to be able to let in another hour or so. But I wouldn't be able to get in, so I wouldn't be able to see her. And I had just seen her the night before, so it wasn't, but the fact that they induced a coma, we kind of knew that was the end. And it was kind of a thing where it's Western medicine. They starved her to death because they didn't look outside their scope of knowing in order to treat her. But I went back under the Santa Monica Pier and I did my first video of many. And I did a video every 60 days after that, which began this journey. So this week is the fifth anniversary of me hitting Facebook Live and starting my lives. And so we're 1,100 shows, 5,000, 5,000 hours later. And we're not there yet. And when we started, Hawk, you'll remember, we were going into it like it was a sprint, like it was a.
We need to get this done as fast as we can.
We were doing shows every night because it was, it was going to happen any day now.
Yep.
And here we are 5 years later, 7 years later, regarding the Q drops. And here we are, and we're still not there. And so many have given up hope in the plan, in the very clear trusting the plan was never meant to make us complacent. It was never meant to make us complacent. It was meant to engage our minds. It was meant to engage our conversation. It was meant to engage our podcasts. It was meant to, this, I always thought I was going to have to take up arms. Black weapons. This is the black weapon that I believe that we need to take up. And as I've shown many times, Q said military is the only way once. Q said transparency, accountability, and justice is the only way 20 times. And that's what we're doing tonight. That's what we have committed ourselves to doing. Hawk has committed himself to doing, bringing people like myself and X22 back into the platforms with which we've been terminated from, despite the fact that Hawk himself has been terminated multiple times. But this is the thing that we need to understand, is that so much of this that we've experienced in the past 5 years is meant for our individual growth as well as our growth as a species. We were talking about the jab earlier, and somebody mentioned in the comments that, those who were not smart enough to reject it are the ones that are dying. And quite honestly, that's a shame, but it is the reality that we're facing.
So Dave, can you see this picture I got up on the screen?
Yeah, please
Okay.
explain.
So let me make it full screen for you. You see where Earth is?
Yeah, I believe we're one of many. I
Okay.
believe that this map is as much speculation as the globe Earth, but is a speculation in the direction of the truth with which we have found, and that is that we are not spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. I was just having a conversation last night with a new friend who was completely awake, by the way, which is so refreshing. Any of us that come upon this, that we can get to certain levels. We can get to certain levels of awareness if we just take off the shackles of education, indoctrination that we've been. And that's why I would always start my shows with check your coat. Now the Sneds and most of the seeds, they know to check their coat. They know that if they come in with the preconceived notions and unconscious bias that have been imprinted upon them, that they're not going to have a true download of information. I'm exhausted. Why don't we hear from Ed, John, Hawk, and wrap this up? Because I am, I'm tired.
Happy
Tired.
birthday, Tomcat. Happy Tomcat just turned 71.
Happy birthday, Tom.
27 minutes ago.
Awesome.
You got 71 more years to go.
Awesome.
Go ahead, Ed. Mike's
Oh,
yours.
me? Oh,
Just-
I don't know what's next.
Just wrap up. What
Yeah,
we're like.
no, it's a pleasure to be here. Sorry, Dave, it's such a downer, but that's we all got to deal with it.
That's it?
I think we know why we're all feeling drained.
No, you know what? I think it's great that Ed, who's done a total of 4 hours of podcasting. Thank you for being able to make it through 4 hours.
I've done multiple podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
I have. Look it up. Google it, bitch.
John, what do you think?
Well, we're all in this together. One of my favorite sayings is, how can I change this world? I start with myself. You know, um, I shared it in the chat and in the private chat. It's a cartoon called The Pilgrim's Progress.
Mm.
We're all on this journey, and the journey is all about making choices. And the more we learn, the better choices we can make. And this is something I've learned all my life. It's kind of like we learn the hard way, but now I think now we have this tool that we can use to um, open our minds up and um, give thought to life and enjoy life. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on, but don't forget to love your family and your children, and take into consideration that sometimes when we say us and them, that's by design. You know, your sister today is the same sister you always had. Your brother is your brother, even though you might not see eye to eye, but that was by design. Get over it. Love one another and treat each other as you would want to be treated. And I think that's the best advice I can give, you know.
That's not bad advice. Only thing I can say is I'll see you guys tomorrow at around 11 a.m. for another day of. Oh, wait. Oh, Lord. Tomorrow's Thursday. Oh. Um, yeah, I'll be on. I'll be on for a little bit tomorrow. I won't be doing a long one tomorrow because tomorrow is a big burn day. So I'll be concentrating on that until the last embers are out, um, and then maybe we'll do another nighttime one. Um, I'll keep you in mind there, John, and I'll send you the link the same way I did this time.
Send an email.
Oh, okay, all right.
Because I had to transfer it to my email in order to open it on my computer.
Okay, well, sometimes I might have to do that though, just because of the fact that I'm out and setting it up while I'm up in the field.
Right.
I don't do email on my phone.
Okay, well, it don't matter now. I figured it out.
Yeah. No, I don't. I don't keep any apps like that on my phone. I just have talk and text, and pretty much that's it. But just guys, no matter what we're seeing, there's nothing to freak out about. Okay, and just take all the information with a grain of salt, and spend some time researching by yourself. If something piques your curiosity, look into it, because you may find that when you look into it, that 3 or 4 other things will pop up that I want to look into that. I want to look into that. There's nothing wrong with expanding your knowledge. Just don't let the knowledge control you. That's the big thing. Don't let it control your emotion. Don't let it control your reaction. And and stay on top of it. And pray. There's absolutely nothing wrong with praying. Dave?
Well, thanks, John, for joining us, and Ed for joining us, and Hawk for just being a rock here in this this moment of necessary truths and exposure. And let's tomorrow, Hawk, we're gonna interview Donovan Lamb.
Yep, Donovan Lamb. Yep.
Yeah, who's has just done some is going to literally talk to us about what's really going on in the food industry,
Yeah.
because this is a man whose family has direct knowledge, having being farmers and creating a business out of sharing food with humanity, and good food, grass fed, grass finished. So tomorrow we're going to have an interview with Donovan, and I look forward to that. I think we're going to do that right around 11 or 12 tomorrow.
Pacific
Your
Standard
time,
Time.
West
Yeah,
West
Pacific
time,
Standard
West
Time.
Coast.
Yeah,
Pacific.
West Coast time. Yep.
Yeah, 11
Yep.
o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So please come check that out, folks, and we look forward to sharing that with you. Yeah, guys, thank you for just a night of just talking about things that matter. Um, many people, that joined us. Thank you for joining us, rather than getting caught up in the bread and circus of Netflix or Apple TV, or what's the next binging show. And so many of you who have chosen this as your Wednesday evening entertainment, or Wednesday evening download of quality information. And so thanks for joining us for that. And yeah, we bid you all good, wonderful evening. Hawk, would you care to take us out with a prayer?
Sure. Actually, John, why don't we have Brother John do it?
There you go.
Okay. Give me just 1 minute. Joanne's mother-in-law. She doesn't have long to live. They're putting her in hospice tomorrow. I'd like to include her into the prayer as well.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Dear Heavenly Father, we'd like to take this time right now just to give you the thanks and the glory that you so deserve, dear Father. You brought us this far. You got us through this life that we've endured, and you've opened our eyes to learn and be better servants, dear Lord. Dear Lord, be with Joanne's family. Give them love and wrap your arms around them in comfort, and just let them know that everything's going to be all right, dear Lord. Wrap your arms around those in the chat and those on the panel. We all need your love, dear Lord. We all love that song. God, we need you now. We need you now more than ever. Dear Lord, forgive us and help us on our journey, the pilgrim's journey, dear Lord. Dear Lord, with this, we just want to say we love you, and we ask these things in your Son, Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, John. Thank you. Up, Dave, you're muted.
Thank you, John. And my friends, until we meet again, thanks for being here. And we'll see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific time. All right. Be well.
Love y'all.
Love y'all. See you.